People are going absolutely insane for these sweaters. People are getting up at 2, 3 in the morning to line up down the block. These are so generic, it's crazy. Why are we wearing a sweatshirt with someone else's name on it? People are forgetting is that people who are presenting these types of lifestyles, that is their job. It's a very popular design. It came from back in the 80s and 90s. The original concept, which was upcycled denim, you probably wouldn't be in support of a fast fashion sweatshirt.
To the Parke pop-up in New York, I waited in line for 3 hours so that you don't have to.
Because what do you mean people are getting up at 2 a.m., standing in line, waiting hours for a sweatshirt that has someone else's last name on it?
Welcome to Consumer Cults, where we unpack ordinary products and why they became extraordinary obsessions. I'm not here to shame anybody for buying these things. I just want to help people understand why they wanted to buy them in the first place, because informed decision making is hot. Today on the docket is Parke, the sweatshirt brand taking over the internet. To understand Parke, you have to look back to the origin story. Parke is a founder-led brand that actually started off upcycling Levi denim jeans, and then that evolved into the iconic varsity mock neck that we all know, love, or hate. People are going absolutely insane for these sweaters. There are pop-ups where people are getting up at like 2, 3 in the morning to line up down the block. Like, what are we even doing, you guys? These are so generic, it's crazy. So who is Chelsea Parke? Chelsea Parke is an influencer who kind of embodies everything that I think this younger female generation wants to be. She has an art history degree, former college athlete. She goes to Pilates, she travels, she shops, she's family orientated, and has a visibly comfortable lifestyle. And I think it's important to acknowledge that Chelsea is the embodiment of everything that I think a lot of people want to achieve. They want love and success and beauty, and it would be naive to think that that's not a huge part of what made Parke so relevant. It's because the founder herself embodies the image that a lot of people are trying to portray. We have a lot of other trends right now that are in the similar vein. We've got the obsessions with Pilates and matcha and all of these lifestyle things that people want to communicate that essentially says like, I've got my shit together. At the end of the day, all of these trends, they're trying to communicate, whether it's your morning routine or your days in the lives or what I eat in the day. All of these lifestyle influencers are trying to sell you on a version of life that's semi-perfect, and it's quite unrealistic for most people. And I think what people are forgetting is that people who are presenting these types of lifestyles, that is their job. Their job is to film themselves going to Pilates and doing nothing but all of these aspirational things, eating healthy, having healthy routines, healthy relationships, whatever it is. That's their job. I think people need to take a look at why I want to participate in this trend or in this phenomenon. And then instead of buying a product that signals your participation, we actually just participate by doing and experiencing. Something we're going to talk about a lot in these videos is the difference between things that signal our identity and things that we do that signal our identity. You can purchase things that become part of your identity, but you can also do things that become part of your identity. Chelsea, for example, she kind of embodies this soft-spoken, approachable, affluent-looking lifestyle of a young woman, and that's very aspirational for a lot of people. And so I think that's why people gravitated towards her as the founder, and then that kind of moved into the product, which is a very attainable way for a lot of people to embody that without actually having to do anything. It's meant to be like, hey, look, I participate in this community of like-minded people who care about these things. Usually when we're following an influencer, it's because we find them aspirational. It's a person who we're aspiring to be like. If Chelsea Parke inspires you, Have you ever considered why? What is it about her that you're inspired by? And instead of purchasing a garment that signals, I like these things, or I want to be these things, or I'm motivated and inspired by these things, what in your life are you actually lacking? If you're wearing a sweatshirt that signals, I'm a girl who goes to Pilates and cares about fashion and fitness and lifestyle, or whatever it is that you're trying to communicate, you could have spent $135 on 5 Pilates classes. Instead, you bought a sweatshirt. So, I don't know what that says, but now let's get into the design of the sweatshirt itself, because this is the part that I find most perplexing. This is a very unoriginal design, in my opinion. I'm gonna throw in some photos of where this design actually came from. It's a very popular design. It came from back in the 80s and 90s. It's your typical collegiate varsity sweater. It's very common to find this style of sweater in your college bookstore. It's very common for sports teams. In general, it's a very unoriginal design. And at first I thought, why is she copying this design? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why is this so popular given how unoriginal it is? That actually might have worked in her favor, because the design is so familiar to people that it was very easy to adopt. I'm perplexed by it, because to me, when I see something having a cult-like response to it and a brand is having their moment where people are just obsessed with it, lining up around the block, in my mind, I typically only feel that type of brand loyalty for something when they've come out with something that's very novel. It's new, it's original, it's unique. I get really excited about things that feel super creative and new. I don't get excited about things that I've seen a million times. I mean, let's just look at some examples. You can see there's a lot of them. They just go on and on. Many brands have done this before. This started off back in the day with Champion and Russell, everything from Old Navy, The Gap, Ralph Lauren. Every university under the sun has done this exact mock neck. It's very wearable because we've been wearing it. Like, we've been wearing it. It's not new. The other piece that I think people have been questioning that I've seen in a lot of comments is, why are we wearing a sweatshirt with someone else's name on it? That is peculiar. But then that kind of begs the argument, well, that's what most brands are. They're named after people very often. That's not unusual to have Ralph Lauren, Dior, Prada, Louis Vuitton. They're all named after people. But I think the distinction that matters is those are credible fashion designers who have designed collections of original fashion. So their name holds meaning in the fashion world. Putting Prada on an item means this was designed by the Prada fashion house, and it's usually an original idea. This is not an original idea by Chelsea Parke. It's a reinvention of a very old classic design. That distinction matters. I don't feel called to present the name of an influencer on my chest. I just think that sort of loyalty, I guess, to a person should be earned, and I'm not really sure what I'm supporting. What is Parke to me? It's a girl. That's all it means to me. Maybe it means something else to you or to someone else, but for me, it doesn't mean anything. That level of name recognition hasn't really been earned, in my opinion. In the fashion world, it means something to put your name on something as a fashion designer, and I don't really consider every influencer who wants a brand a fashion designer. That's my opinion. You can agree or disagree, but I think putting your name on something comes with a level of, I earned this. It's interesting that the choice she made was your typical varsity style sweatshirt, because varsity as a social signal typically signals education, Ivy Leagues, affluency. It can signal privilege and money. It can signal all of those things, right? So it is a social status symbol by making it in that collegiate style. That plays into the familiarity of it, right? collegiate and varsity style clothing already come with a built-in community. There's already a super strong bond in Ivy League, prep school, sport associations. They're all community coded already. So you already have that subconscious association. And I think it's interesting to think about when you look at it. When you look at this design, sure, you see Parke in big letters, but what you feel is that subconscious level recognition that I've seen this before. I like how this feels. This feels familiar. So that plays a big role in why this design was so easily adopted, because so many different communities are like, oh, I recognize this, seen it, done it, easy. It's an easy choice, right? You're sort of borrowing the familiarity from these other associations. What's interesting though is that she started off as an upcycled denim brand. If you've been following her from the beginning, were people supporting her because of a sustainability standpoint and they wanted to support an upcycled denim type of brand, and then somehow that transitioned to the sweatshirt? Because I feel like if you were supporting the original concept, which was upcycled denim, you probably wouldn't be in support of a fast fashion sweatshirt, because it is. She's not upcycling anything for these sweatshirts. They're a mass-produced fast fashion sweatshirt, and it just is. Starting an upcycled denim brand, to me, signals that you're trying to present to your audience that you care about sustainability and circular fashion and that sort of thing. So I'm just confused if that's even true, because to transition from an upcycled denim brand, which will be inherently less profitable than a fast fashion sweatshirt brand, to switch once one was clearly more successful. It went from like, oh, I'm trying to start this upcycled denim brand, and then I'm gonna switch to this hero sweatshirt thing. It feels a bit greenwashy, and I just wanted to point that out, because I think if you're supporting her because of the initial upcycled denim, we're very far away from that at this point. She's mass producing sweatshirts by the thousands. That is the opposite of a circular economy. That is the opposite of upcycling. No, that's not what this video is about, but it needs to be said that the original upcycled denim looks very much like a marketing ploy, like I'm gonna try this lane because that's also what's trending, right? It is trending to care about the planet. So for me, it's feeling a bit icky in that it started off as an upcycled denim brand and now it's just a sweatshirt brand. Because yeah, upcycled denim is much harder to scale, and I just feel like if your values are that wishy-washy, I question you as the founder and what your values actually are, because they're obviously not sustainability. Obviously, if your brand built its meaning around reusing things, individuality, vintage sourcing, and then now derives much of its visibility from repeatedly releasing mass-produced logo basics, like, I'm just confused. I'm just a little confused. So what does this sweatshirt communicate? When we purchase things, it typically has some other intrinsic meaning to us. It's part of our identity, or the identity that we want to present to the world. This particular sweatshirt is communicating a few things depending on the customer. It could be anything from you understand the current taste codes right now in society. You are up on the trends, you know what's cool, what's not cool. Wearing it, it says, I know about this. I'm on the up and up. I'm in the inner circle. That's one of the things it communicates. It also communicates, I can afford a $135 sweatshirt. I could have bought a $50 sweatshirt, but I bought this one instead. It does communicate that. It says, I belong to this Parke influencer college girly ecosystem. Because let's be honest, it is the college girlies that are at the forefront of a lot of these trends. They're the ride or dies when it comes to their brand loyalty. they're at an age where they are seeking belonging above all else. They want to be accepted by their peers. They want to make friends in college. And it's hard. They are at a time in their life where having community and support, maybe they've just left home and they're away from school now. So having these social signals that immediately signals belonging are important to people. And I understand that. I'm in a place where I have friends. I'm in my early 30s. And so I'm not out here trying to connect with people everywhere I go. But when you're in college, that is what you're doing. Sometimes you're away from home for the first time and you're just trying to make friends and find your crowd, find your people. And sometimes the things we wear and the things we possess are a really easy way to create these little bubbles, right? The same thing with something like a Stanley. You go somewhere, you see somebody with the same Stanley as you, the same book bag as you, they're wearing a Parke sweatshirt. That's an invisible signal that you don't have to do anything. You don't have to speak to them. You don't have to join a club, go out of your comfort zone. You can literally just wear the uniform of your people. So if you're somebody who maybe you want to find other people that like the same things as you, sometimes wearing the uniform for that group can be the easiest way with the least amount of resistance to find those people. This works with anything. I mean, if you're a runner and you're wearing a certain brand of running shoe, a lot of the girls I know, we run in Lululemon shorts, things like that. So if you're wearing the newest Lululemon set, it's a very easy way for somebody to connect with you and to be like, oh my God, I just saw they dropped that new set. That's so cute on you. Instantly, we're best friends. We're best friends. If you have the newest Stanley color, I don't even own a Stanley, so this could be wrong, but if you have the newest Stanley and somebody's like, oh my God, I was eyeing that, so cute, girl. Best friends. It's this unspoken language between people is the products that we own. We can immediately connect with people and go, oh, I know that girl likes Pilates because she's wearing an aloe set or whatever. It's one of the reasons why we wear certain things. Now, what is most peculiar to me is the pop-ups and just the overall hype crazes that happen around these brands. This has mostly to do with their marketing. It's subtle, but it slowly ramps up. They do it with limited drops, limited styles. They schedule their releases on a very particular cadence that they know creates anticipation. They're very good at selling things out, selective restocks, pop-ups that are exclusive, or certain editions where they'll do a collab like they did with Dunkin', or they'll do one with certain locations like representing your city on there. They find as many ways to connect and create that desire, like, no, I have to have that one. Oh, no, I need that one. Or that one. No, wait, they just came out with a new one. I need that one. There's always new editions of the same thing so that you're almost like collecting them. But here's the thing. All of that is manufactured. This is a company who made like $16 million in their first year. They're not actually sold out. That's not a thing. A business that is making that much revenue could be in stock. They could keep it in stock if they wanted to. I just need you to hear me so clearly when I say if they wanted to keep it in stock, they could. That's how they derive demand. They keep all of their styles in limited stock, they sell out, and then they restock, right? So they obviously could have restocked, they just didn't. That's where I have a little bit of a problem because it takes away your agency and your power as a consumer to have time to make an informed decision. Here's the thing. I do not want to be rushed into making my purchases. I want to have time to think about them, buy the right size, the right color that I actually want, so that it's actually going to be a piece that I'm going to love and cherish. I'm seeing so many TikToks and complaints online of people being like, oh, I didn't get the one I wanted. I didn't get the size I wanted. It was such a rush decision. Everything sells out so fast, so you don't have time to make a decision. Or God forbid, you're actually in a sale with a mob of people and you literally just get whatever one you can get your hands on. You guys, it sounds a little crazy if you say it out loud. I would rather have no sweatshirt than the wrong sweatshirt. But yet, here you guys are lining up at 2 a.m. just to maybe get the one you want. Let's talk about the sweatshirt itself, because this is something that I find it perplexing, because this is such a generic style. I've seen it so many times, but this particular one, I just can't wrap my head around why it's so popular. The neck of it, from any angle that I've seen it, I don't like it. Again, these are just my personal opinions. You obviously will have your own opinions and your own tastes when it comes to style and fashion preferences, but this neck is so wide and floppy. It doesn't sit nice on the neck, in my opinion. It's always flopped over somehow. It's just really wide and it's very boxy. And I know it's meant to be boxy, but there's like a fine line between boxy and too boxy, in my opinion. I don't like how this fits. I'll insert some clips here. It just doesn't really hang that nice. And I don't think that's necessarily a sizing thing. When it comes to pullovers, my preference is, I'll insert a clip of a mock neck that I think is like the perfect style. I like it to be a little more cinched in at the bottom. To me, it looks stretched out. Like, it doesn't look intentional to me. When you have ribbing around the bottom of a sweatshirt, my natural instinct is that the ribbing is meant to pull it in at the bottom. And these just look like they hang straight to me. So, and maybe that's just because I'm short. I don't know. It's not that flattering personally. So I don't really understand the hype. Sometimes I think when people see a product that is so popular and they want to love it so bad, they don't actually consider the part where they actually like, do you actually like this? Because I've seen a few unboxings where they put it on and they're like, oh, this is what all the hype was about. And then I also see the opposite, where people put it on and they're like, yep, I get it. Like, I love it. And I'm like, that's great. I mean, you spent $135 on it. I hope you do love it. Why do we buy things from influencers? In general, I find the phenomenon of influencer branding strange, but it does come down to very basic things. We as people trust people who seem similar to us. There's just an instinct there that, like, well, they're like me, therefore I trust them. So if you have that like homophily parasocial relationship to a particular influencer, then it makes sense why you would shop from them, because you have decided to trust them. One of the things that they've claimed is that they do no paid ads. Now, this is a very narrow and misleading claim, because no ads doesn't mean no marketing. It's not really a hill I would die on, considering the influencer who created this brand already had a following. So they used founder-led content, which is still marketing, and they heavily use influencer gifting, creator marketing, collaborations, sponsored pop-ups. All of that is marketing. So, and it generates media. If you go to a pop-up and you post about it, you're essentially working for their marketing team for free. So there's a lot of marketing happening. It's just not paid ads. Another thing that I find interesting about Parke is they have no refund policy on the majority of their hero items. Basically, that means you have to decide very quickly that you want this product, which one you want, before it sells out, and there's no refunds or exchanges. I don't love that. I don't like scarcity marketing. I don't like very manufactured derived demand. If a product is good, you shouldn't need to do so much. They're doing a lot. They're doing the most, and it works, and it is working, and I'll give credit where credit is due. But just keep in mind that you're the puppet and they're pulling the strings. Something that I've heard is that the silhouette of the sweater is the differentiator here, which is a very weak argument to why you should purchase this sweater, given that this particular style of sweater is not unique. It's been around for decades. It's probably one of the least unique sweatshirts I've ever seen. The differentiator is really the Chelsea Parke affiliation. It's the branding, it's maybe the wider collar, which is subjective on whether that looks good, and the scarcity marketing and the color drops. It's one of those brands that once they gained traction, that gave them the opportunity to make more collections, and they frequently turn over new designs. So then you always want the next one. This product is succeeding largely because its shape and style has been around for decades. The varsity mockneck is probably the most common customizable design that you see on Etsy. It's so common. I don't understand why people don't want their name or their school or their town on a sweater. I don't understand why they want Parke on a sweater. It really has to do with Chelsea and what Chelsea means. Parke is not selling sweatshirts. They're selling a membership to the identity that it represents. The sweatshirt is simply a receipt. People don't aspire to be like Chelsea because she's particularly extraordinary. It's that she's aspirational. She's somebody that people can look up to and that people idealize because she's living the attainable upper middle class lifestyle that we're all trying to achieve. We're all just trying to be healthy, happy, and not broke. And I think she's doing that. It's kind of this effortlessly put together lifestyle that I think a lot of us are trying to achieve. The Parke sweatshirt became the symbol for that. We should use things that you're already familiar with. Varsity, collegiate, boxy sweatshirts, mocknecks, crew necks. We've all been wearing these things for generations. My favorite things to wear are crew necks and mocknecks. They're the most comfortable thing. And she was like, hey, what if I just kind of spice that up a little bit? People are not buying this for utility. The sweatshirt essentially just says, I'm this kind of person. And then other people connect with that. And at the end of the day, that's all that humans really want is connection, friendship, love, community. Once you realize that humans don't crave products, humans crave connection and belonging and identity and sometimes status. Products have simply just become the easiest way that we communicate that to one another because products communicate instantly, whereas the other ways to drive connection and friendship and community is through doing, right? Developing a skill, joining a community, joining a club, joining a team, having a conversation, being interesting, being vulnerable. But with clothes and with products, you don't have to do anything. It's all done for you. You literally just have to wear it and you instantly become a part of that community. Within 2 seconds, someone else wearing a Parke sweatshirt recognizes it, clocks it, and goes, that's my girl. That's my girl. It's easy. It's so easy. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a little bit lazy. It's kind of like a participation trophy. That's kind of how I look at it. Like if I am a runner and I want to meet other runners and be a part of a running community, I don't wear running shoes and workout clothes. I go to a run club. I sign up for a half marathon. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas with clothes, it's pretty surface level. There's not much beyond it. It doesn't go much farther than I see you, you see me, same. You know, but if you do things as opposed to wear things to create connection, your life will just be so much bigger. It'll be so much more fulfilling. It will go beyond consumerism. If you want to make friends who are like-minded, do like-minded things. Don't buy like-minded things, do like-minded things. If you want to make friends with other runners and you show up to a run club every Wednesday for 6 months, well, guess what? Now you have friends. You have friends. So one requires a purchase, which is actually very easy. The other requires participation. There's purchased identity and there's experienced identity. Do you see the difference? We have purchased identity, which is the things you wear. You know, I wear Parke, I carry a Stanley, I drive a white Jeep, I wear an Oura ring. That identity comes from ownership. You bought it. Now I'm this. Earned identity comes from doing something. I'm a skier. because I go skiing. I'm a photographer because I practice for hours and hours and I earn that title. I'm a runner because I run. The identity comes from doing, and that's a much harder identity to fake. Let it sink in. I know. That's the thing. I could literally pretend to be a runner simply by buying running shit and walking around looking like a runner. I could pretend to be all of these things based on what I wear, right? I could wear my workout clothes and my Stanley and a Parke sweatshirt, and it signals to other people, oh, she's athletic. She likes Pilates. Then yada, yada, yada. That's what it signals. I can wear whatever uniform I want on any given day. Today, I'm wearing one of my dad's old shirts because I like it. Tomorrow, I could be wearing a matching set and I'm communicating something entirely different. But did I go to Pilates? Have I been exercising? No, not really. I've been dancing in my living room because it's more fun. But I can communicate an identity based on things that I own. But you know that you skip Pilates. You know what's true. And at the end of the day, I think it's so much richer to build an identity through experiences and participation instead of consumption whenever possible. I'm not saying don't buy anything that signals anything ever. I'm just saying your identity should be highly derived from the things that we do and experience and participate in rather than just the things we own. Because the need that you're trying to satisfy is completely human. We all want belonging. We all want identity and connection. My question is simply whether buying another sweatshirt is the way to go. Well, that's all I have for you today. Please buy what you love, not what the algorithm tells you to love. Bye.